accessing or consuming an external REST service is something that we're increasingly asked to do in our COBOL programs. isCOBOL makes it easy with isCOBOL's HTTPClient class, and this video is a demonstration of how to do that. REST is an acronym for Representational State Transfer. Think of it like a black box on the web, a program you can access and interact with. You send in a request for data, and it sends the data back. It's the behind-the-scenes way that a lot of systems talk to each other, whether it's across a network or through the internet, especially when working with vendors. It's simpler than SOAP-based web services because it doesn't use a WSDL or WSDL. In the past, REST services were seen as less secure than SOAP, but that perception has shifted. Today, REST is considered just as secure, and it's widely adopted by leading companies across the industry. Data is usually passed back and forth in either XML or JSON format. Each communication with a REST service is stateless, meaning it doesn't keep any information after the request has been fulfilled. Each communication stands alone. isCOBOL's HTTPClient class is an embedded solution that gives you the functionality that you need to communicate with existing HTTP services like web services, REST and SOAP, and HTTP servers. It requires some object-oriented programming, which may seem intimidating, but we offer a lot of examples that you can use and customize, from the samples included with the installation, to our knowledge base articles, this video, and through technical support. We're going to use these tools today. The isCOBOL IDE and our Stream to Work utility will create a working storage copybook from the JSON that's returned from the service. Postman and SOAP UI are open source free tools that you can download from the web. We're going to use Postman, but SOAP UI works just as well. And we're going to access a hosted REST API, and there's the website for it there on the screen. Now these are the basic steps that we're going to do. We'll be using Postman and the documentation from the service's website to test the inputs and outputs that we need to get a record and to post a new record. We'll copy the JSON from Postman and we'll run it through the Stream to Work utility to create our working storage copybooks so that our COBOL program can work with that data. And then we'll run the program and debug, and we're going to see how it uses the HTTPClient class. So let's jump right in. So here's the website that's hosting the API that we're going to access. I've already created an account and I've gotten this free API key, and we're going to apply that in a little bit. The next thing is to find out how to interact with this API. So we're looking for documentation. There's a couple of places. One is here in API Docs, and it gives us information to access different types of data with this API. We're going to get stuff from the users file, and we're going to do a get. We're going to fetch a specific user. And so if I look at the code here, it tells me to send it an ID, and we can try it out here and click on execute. And it's going to give me an error saying that it needs the API key. But it does give me the command that I need. This is my URL. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to append an ID to it to get a specific user. So that is one place that I got information about this. However, I went back to the first page and I found a place where it said, give it a try. It gives me an example of the JSON that it expects to see when we make the post request. All right, so let's give this a try in Postman. We're going to do an HTTP request. First thing I want to do is go into my header, and I'm going to add the key information that I got from the site. So there's a key type, and ours is XAPI key, and then the key value. Now when I do a request, it's going to send this information in the header. All right, so let's go back to our get. We're going to get a single user, and I'm going to click on this and copy the request URL. I'm going to put it here, and I've got my get, so I'm going to click on send. And then here is my response. This is the information that I'm going to get back, and I'm going to want to do something with it in my COBOL program. So I need to convert this to working storage. I'm going to copy this response, and I'm going to go to a folder that I'm calling JSON. I'm going to save this JSON here. And we'll call it output.json. We'll paste it here, and we're going to do something with this later. Right now I'm just going to save it. All right, so now let's do our post. In post, we're going to pass some JSON, and then we're going to get some JSON back. So we want to keep both of those. So we'll change this to our post. And our address is to the API and the user's file. And then we'll go back to the website, click on post, and I'm going to copy the JSON that they suggested for their request. We're going to put it in the body as raw JSON. And post. And that was successful. You can tell it created an ID and the date it was created on. I'm going to copy and save our input JSON and put them into the JSON folder. Paste it and save it. And then we're going to copy the response. And save that. Now that we can access it, we know what kind of data we have to send, we know what kind of data we're going to get back. Now I'm going to open up the IDE. And here is my program. We're going to look at that in a little bit, but first we need to get our working storage files. I've already decided what I'm going to call them: user work, input create work, and output create work. So we will refresh this, and we'll start with the output. isCOBOL, utilities, stream to work, JSON. Here's our output JSON. It knows we want to put it in the copy folder. We're going to call it output.work. That's not what I called it. I called it user.work, so we'll change that. Now we do want to disambiguate. We want to customize this with user, and I'm going to call the root demo. We'll run it. And there we go. My IDE is telling me that this isn't a problem anymore because it exists. Let's take a look at the file that was created. I'll click on this, and here is what stream to work did for us. So now we can get our data, our ID, and email, first name, etc. We have two more JSON files. I want to show you how to use stream to work from the command line. So we're going to go to the command line now, and we're going to type stream to work, and we're going to want to handle JSON, and let's do the put input first. We want to put it into the copy folder. I'm going to set the same settings similar to what we set in the GUI wizard from the IDE. Great. And we'll do the other one, the output. And they're both generated. Let's go back to our IDE, see what it's telling us. We'll need to refresh. And now it has all of our copybooks. We'll take a quick look at the two that we just created. There's our name and job. And then here's our name and job with the ID and the create app. Okay, so now we have all the pieces that we need. I'm going to compile and run this program and debug. It has the big three, I call them, for object-oriented programming. You have a repository. This is our HTTP client. You have the object reference in working storage, and then we're instantiating it with the new verb here. We're setting the header property. Remember, we have to pass the key, so that's where we're doing that here. And then we're doing a get We're passing it the record number 2. If it's successful, it's going to have a response code of 200. So then we'll go out and get the JSON, and we're going to display just a couple of the fields. Then we're going to do a post. In this case, we're going to use Paul as the name and manager as the job. And it's going to return the name and job, hopefully with an ID and a created at. And that's the program. All right, so let's compile it. We're looking down here in the bottom right. Okay, and then we'll run it and debug. Let's go here. Debug as an isCOBOL application. All right, let's step through. We instantiated the object. Now we are setting the key. Now we're going to do a get. And our response code, as you see up here, is 200, so it was successful. So now we're going to get the JSON and put it into our stream to work created working storage and just display a few of the fields. I'm going to click over here to the console, and you can see the response code, and we did get Janet Weaver. So our get was successful. Now we're going to try to create a record with our post. So here's our post. Move this over so you can see this. All right. And we'll step through. Our response code is 200. So we go get the JSON. We're going to display what we get back. And here's our response. Paul and manager gave us an ID number and a created time and date. And that's a basic look into how to become a REST consumer using isCOBOL's HTTP client class. If you have any questions, you can contact us at the information on the screen or at support@variant.com. Thank you.